Irma is expected to make landfall in Florida as at least a Category 4 hurricane, marking the first time ever that two Category 4 or higher storms will hit the United States in the same season. Irma's already cut a path of destruction through the Caribbean, and another Category 4 storm, Jose, is just behind it. Hurricane experts say that today had the most hurricane activity ever recorded in the Atlantic region, according to a measurement called Accumulated Cyclone Energy that measures the combined strength of storms. NBC's Cal Perry has been following Irma's path through the Caribbean and joins us now. Cal?
Ali, when you look at where this hurricane has been, where it's headed, we can see the damage it caused. If you look at its track through the Caribbean, and you mentioned there Hurricane Jose, one of the big concerns on these islands is, are people going to be able to get out after the damage of that first hurricane before Jose makes its way? Let's go from east to west. Starting in Barbuda, that took massive damage. The Prime Minister there saying 95% of the island destroyed. He called it, quote, barely habitable. For people who are on Twitter, for about 9 to 11 hours, this island was cut off. There was no word from this island. There was no phones. There was no communication whatsoever. They finally got some satellite phones up there. You see the helicopter shots. They were finally able to get a look at that island. Totally devastated. Now to Saint Martin. This is an island shared by the French and the Dutch, and there has been looting. Roofs were shredded. Boats were torn to pieces. You can see some of the damage there. The Dutch have put troops onto the streets of Saint Martin now because they're saying two-thirds of the houses on that island are, quote, uninhabitable, no electricity, no gas, no water. The French minister saying, quotes, scenes of pillaging. I'll take you now to the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Again, the thing we're hearing out of the U.S. and British Virgin Islands is help or Jose. Can they get the help in before Jose comes across these islands and basically moves the rubble now from one spot to another? To give you an example of how powerful this storm was for the U.S. Virgin Islands, the roof of the medical center in St. Thomas was ripped clear off during the storm. They had to evacuate that hospital. Finally, Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico did not take a direct hit. That's the good news. The bad news is right there, the power. There are hundreds of thousands of people without power, and it's going to be months before that power comes back on. Ali, as you know, this is a bankrupt island. This was an island on its knees before the storm hit. That's going to be a real problem. The fact that it's declared bankruptcy is going to limit the amount of funding that this island gets from FEMA. It's going to limit the amount of recovery that this island is sort of going to be able to have. That is a big concern. The economy there is going to be absolutely devastated. Look, big picture, at least 20 people killed across the Caribbean, 1.2 million people affected, and a $10 billion initial estimate of the damage.
And again, when something like this happens, immediately we're thinking about responses, the hospitals, rebuilding. But this other hurricane is right behind it. Places like the U.S. Virgin Islands and others are going to get another swipe of this thing.
That's right. So if you decided you were going to ride it out, you were going to stick it out, and you did, and you're on one of these islands, number one, you don't have power, you don't have internet, you don't have communications, you don't know what the track of Jose is, and the authorities there are trying to get to you to tell you, look, it's time to get off this island because we're just not going to be able to communicate with you what's going on when this next storm comes rolling through.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.